Hey guys, welcome. Today we're going to walk you through the first half of how my days normally run. And at the end of today, we're going to show you a little Q&A that we shot covering some basic questions around bodybuilding, contest prep, and just progression when it comes to training. But to start off my day, I normally grab a cup of coffee, get ready to go do my fasted cardio downstairs. After that, I normally have my first meal. Nothing too crazy. I'll go over all of that when I make it. Then I have client check-ins and some client work to do. I normally sit at my desk all the way to 12 noon before I kind of leave. So we're going to cover all of that in today's video. All right, guys, so I'm going to walk you through an average day for me. I normally start my morning by waking up, grabbing some coffee, and coming here, looking at some messages before I actually start my day. But now we're going to get prepared for my morning walk. So let's go to the kitchen. All right, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to grab our peptides from the fridge. So we're going to take these before we go do our cardio downstairs. And if you are looking for a reliable place to grab peptides, Pro Peptides Elite is a great place to grab them. Code MVP to save an extra 10% off your order. They're also third-party tested as well. So we're going to take our MOT-C and our SS31 before we go for a walk. These are just for mitochondrial health and increasing the amount of energy your mitochondria can actually use. I think these are big tools that have helped me stay much leaner in this off season, typically to how I normally kind of sit. I normally don't have abs my off season at all, and at least in my check-ins and half my shots, I still kind of have them. So I'm kind of owing that to using some mitochondrial based or mitochondria enhancing peptides, because that's really the only difference in this off season, and a very low dose of Retta. I'm only taking 1 milligram a week of Retta, so nothing much that actually impacts my appetite, but definitely something that impacts blood sugar in a positive way. Kind of almost like using it as like a basal insulin, like how someone would use a Lantus in their off season. But and now we're gonna have our methylene blue with Bloat Pro by Leviathan, a product I really enjoy. I felt like before my off season, when I would have my morning movement, it never felt really empty afterwards. Then with this, I feel like I actually kind of feel empty after my first movement. And my gut health was something I really wanted to focus on this year, especially it's been something that's been negatively impacting me for a while. So let's grab those. Now with the methylene blue, you actually kind of have to be careful. As you can see, I stained my cutting board. It was initially used to actually dye clothes. So if you get it on anything, you're kind of actually fucking it's not coming out. Now this smells absolutely terrible. It smells like a really old Parmesan cheese or like feet. You want to smell this over there?
Oh, it does. Oh my God.
Yeah, no, it smells like actually like feet, but it tastes delicious. It's a strawberry flavor and it's really spot on. That's why I do it with the methylene blue, because methylene blue tastes like ass. It's fucking terrible. If you've ever drank any like research chemical from like any company, like they always have like this really acidic, like almost like nauseating taste, then methylene blue is really no different.
I would say the worse that something tastes, the more effective it is as a supplement because if they could improve the taste, they would.
Exactly. Yeah, it tastes like feet and ass is a golden product. It is. Yeah, you are killing it. And now my fingers be blue all fucking day. So like, make sure you don't have white stuff on when doing it. As myself, give it a swirl. Mm. Yeah, not great. Definitely not great, but the strawberry definitely helps a ton. Let's go get ready for our walk now. So each day I don't only walk for 20 minutes here. I only have 20 minutes of cardio a day. My cardio is pretty lazy cardio. Nick, if you're watching this, I'm sorry. Uh, I've been walking at 2.5 miles an hour at a 5 to 8 degree incline. And just doing this has been enough to maintain my weight. Granted, I normally also aim for 10,000 steps a day. But honestly, I just a walking pad for that because this kind of bang it out while I'm watching TV. Walk at a really slow pace, maybe 2 miles an hour. And you don't even realize you're kind of doing it because you're so focused on the television, and 2 miles an hour is nothing, right? So you can just kind of zone out and focus on that. But no, not much cardio this prep. I mean, prep, wow, off season. Not much cardio this off season. Just mostly just walking and not even a ton, as you can see. After this, we'll go make breakfast, have some coffee, work on some client plans. Train with Jack later today, too. So we just finished cardio, so it's time to eat meal one. I'm super hungry, but my meal one is nothing crazy. Just 80 grams of cream of rice, 300 grams of egg whites, and 2 whole eggs. So I'm going to bang this out real quick, take our supplements, and then have our coffee, then get right back to work. So like that we use a dog food container for cream of rice. There used to be a bone on this, just so you know. Also, have you ever used a kettle to make cream of rice, bro?
No, I haven't.
You
I've
have?
seen people that use what they're curing. I've seen people do that.
Yeah, no, it's so much better. If you are a true cream of rice aficionado, you use this. This plus the microwave. You get like the crust on top. And I do a 4-to-1 ratio. Water to cream of rice.
He's like up to that.
Definitely. Like, I think the bags is like 5-to-1, but I feel like I need to microwave it way too many times to get rid of all the water. 4-to-1, I can do this. 3-minute microwave. Put it in the fridge for like 2 minutes to cool down. There's not liquid lava in your mouth. Are you a red onion fan? I think it's like one of the few onions I like also raw. I feel like last time I bought mushrooms, I just never ate them. They just turned into bigger mushrooms in the fridge. Was that count as 2 eggs?
Yeah, right.
I had someone ask, like, do you have sprinkles in your plan? I'm like, I don't think Nick has ever put sprinkles in anyone's plan. Guys, so it's time for meal one. Like I mentioned before, nothing crazy here. There's 80 grams of cream of rice, 300 grams egg whites, 2 whole eggs, high morning supplements as well. Nothing too crazy here. Complete health is what I normally use like for my cycle support. Heart, liver, kidneys, blood pressure as well. And then for my actual my separate supplements, I have oral BPC, oral TB500. I have fish oil in here. I also have Tudka, as well as kidney support by Leviathan Labs as well. So get all this down, and that is be time for me to get to work, go to my desk, start working on check-ins and client feedback. Take food porn. I had the sprinkles. It makes me think of a cosmic brownie. Have you had a cosmic brownie as an adult?
It's way too much. It's so rich.
I don't think it was the same, bro.
Oh, really?
I think they changed it on us. They did bait and switch.
I think they did because I used to be straight up addicted to them, and then I had one later in life, and it was like, I don't know if I could eat this.
Right?
Yeah.
Not the same brownie. It's not the same brownie.
Yeah, they changed everything on us.
I would have traded anything as a kid at lunch for a cosmic brownie.
I agree.
Like anything on my I got my lunch tray would have been interchangeable with the cosmic brownie. Like an actual have my entree. I just want the brownie.
So today's training day?
Yeah, so today I have legs later. We're hitting that with Jack, probably like 7 or 8 o'clock. He's in town, visiting some family, so we don't get a lift too often. Our schedule will never really line up. And also he lives like an hour and a half away. So it doesn't really ever make it convenient for us to train in. We both have our own client to take care of. He still has a full-time job as well on top of coaching. So the amount of free time that kid really has is pretty limited. And same with me. My schedule revolves around my clients, so I also don't really get a lot of time to travel besides actually just travel to client shows. Losing like 3 hours total round trip just to go to Lifton is kind of off the question majority of the time. I do miss the days when I was younger, when all you would do is gym hop. Like that would be your weekend activity. Like you would go gym hop, you would stop at like a burger place afterward or a sushi place, and you would plan it all out like in advance. Like that would be going out,
Yeah, those are the days.
right? It's like we're gonna go hit a sick like leg day somewhere. There's a burger place like 20 minutes away. They have awesome stuff. You stalk like their Instagram page the whole entire day. You know what you're going to train, and you also know what piece of equipment you're probably going to use because like you stalk their Instagram too. Like, yo, they got this new chest press or this new leg press. Like yo, fucking hit that first. And then you're like, oh, I'm gonna go to 25 Burger or something like that. And have you been to 25 Burger before?
Yeah, I have.
Dude, their burgers are like off the charts.
They are.
For like a small thing that I've never heard of. Like, there's only one. Is there a franchise of those?
No, they have 30 burgers. That's a franchise. But the 25, no. I think like there's not that many of them.
I'm calling you like a baby. You're a big naked baby. This looks really uncomfortable. This is even more uncomfortable. This fat pigeon.
I've been trying to get Charles to lay on my shoulder like that for I don't know how long.
The worst thing about this is that she is completely unaware of how large she is. So she'll try to roll while being on here and dig her claws into you so she doesn't fall off. Are you comfortable like this? I already had bad posture. You're just like reinforcing it. Like if you're gonna, yeah, I had to say slouch because of you. My tech neck is already terrible from this. Now I'm gonna have cat neck. You know, hitting legs with Jack later. I've been taking it really easy on legs recently, just because my knees have been like killing me, and like just from the post show like strength progressions, jumping weight like weekly, like over week. As we know, like your tendons and ligaments don't grow as fast as your muscles do. In reality, like if those last thing I need right now is like to tear an ACL or pull anything. So when I knees started aching, I'm like, you know what? Let me reduce the intensity and increase the volume. So
Exactly.
remove some movements and then just add in more volume across like closed chain movements like your leg extension. Like my knees are not happy with right now, but like I can go to leg press and have no issue at all. So like staying with things that are pain free that can still take to failure just with a much lighter load and just pushing the reps much higher. At the end of the day, as long as I'm going proximity to failure, the same, right? I'm still doing the same exact thing. Maybe I had more quote unquote fatigue, but that's what steroids are for, right?
Do you feel like you use more machines now over like free weights as you're gaining more weight?
I definitely think so. I definitely think I've gotten way farther away from using free weight movement. I think the only thing I really use like for free weights is like arms maybe and some shoulder movements. But beside that, I've gotten so far away from using like any type of actual barbell or dumbbell just because like at the end of the day, like stability is such a big factor. And like I want like the focus on just force output. I don't want to have to worry about bracing too much. I don't have to worry about my balance. Like even like I think the closest thing I have to a free weight movement is like a Smith machine, right? Like, and that's not even a free weight movement. That's just a guided machine still, right? When I was younger, all I did because like, I had the mindset that you had to build a foundation by using free weights first. You're gonna get really good at a barbell squat, really good at a deadlift, and then bench was always like on the table because we all knew that like most pros did bench at a higher level. So it was like, just, how strong can your chest fucking get? But yeah, no, I've gotten so far away from that, especially after injuries too. Like I realized my body didn't like to move as uniform on one side compared to the other. And like I do have some imbalances that just happen to be there that I had not been able to fully correct yet. So I feel like I'm just making them worse by forcing them both to move in unison with like a barbell. Like I do believe that like deadlifts help me build a like good foundation and a decent posterior chain. But I also think it created a lot of like negative things as well. Like I never would have torn my hamstring otherwise if I wasn't deadlifting. Now, was that avoidable? Probably not. But I doubt I would have torn doing a hamstring curl. Like I don't think it would have happened. Like something that was more specific to training hamstrings, I doubt it would have happened.
Yeah, I agree.
Wow. So no, I definitely think, and you even see now with like even pros, like a lot of pros gravitate a lot more toward machines now. It's It's a safer way for you to push balls to the wall and not have to worry about any repercussions. Like almost every machine has a safety, so there's no bailing anymore in movement. You just fucking stop and you're kind of good.
Exactly. And I think the evolution of machines over time too, like they've gotten so much better, especially with like new techs of where Atlantis, like you're pretty much doing a workout in like the most comfortable, like, we're the most optimal position.
Yeah. And like even like things like you mentioned Prime, like having the ability to have certain parts of the movement actually have more load compared to other parts. Like we can now like cater toward the strength curve of a muscle. Like we know, okay, like cool, my lats fully extended here. Like this first little bit, I'm going to be the strongest here. So like let me make that the heaviest part of the movement because I know I'm gonna get weaker as I continue to keep pulling my elbow back. So like, hey, let me overload the third peg here to ensure the load is there. And same exact thing like for chest movements. Like we know like this last little squeeze at the part matters the least. So as long as it's heavy down here, it doesn't fucking matter if you can make it all the way up here. So for those same prime movements, let's overload that peg to make the bottom part the heaviest.
Exactly. Yep.
Trick, man. It almost completely got rid of the need for bands across a lot of those movements. As long as you have access to a prime machine, bands or chains are kind of obsolete unless you're actually powerlifting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shit, I remember always banding like leg press or banding like even like the leg extension to the thing. I think me and you've done that before. Just because like, all right, cool, at the very top of it's going to be the hardest, but like a prime machine, I could just throw it on the other peg. And also we now know that, hey, like Nestle making the hardest part of a leg extension or the end range of a leg extension is not actually that much more advantageous than anything else. It would just be better to actually have someone push and do force negatives probably than actually do that.
Exactly. Yeah. It's just easier overall. Like as you get stronger, it's a bitch to put on all those plates onto a machine. Like having the weight already loaded there for you, it makes it so much easier to switch.
Yeah, dude, like I know you haven't been to Iron recently to try the new chest pieces I got, but they have the leverage press. I feel like that is actually heavier than using a barbell.
Really?
Like I can only do 2 plates on the chest press. I can easily do more than 2 plates on an actual free barbell, but the actual machine weighs so much too that it's the angle, the machine, like it feels like I'm moving way more weight, but I'm also super stable. And it naturally, this one also naturally converges, which is something you can't do on a barbell. And when your dumbbells get so much heavier, you also lose the ability to converge as well because the dumbbell is so physically big. You see guys like who are pressing over like 230-pound dumbbells or 130-pound dumbbells, 140-pound dumbbells. The dumbbell is so big they can only do this. They can't do this anymore. There's no more converging happening because it's just so fucking big. But you don't have that issue using a machine, which is like one big thing that people kind of forget. Like machines were created to allow you to lift in a way that was just as advantageous but safer than using actual free weights. Crip, can you come over here? You want some water? Is that what it is? For some reason, they will only drink out of this cup.
I have Charles's.
It's like
Is a cup.
It's a community watering hole. All the cats come here and drink out of the cup. Cannoli, are you coming for water as well?
So my question is, since you are training today, do you typically train after a certain amount of meals in? Is there a certain amount of meals that you prefer to have before you start your training?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I normally like to have 2 meals in before. I feel like if I just do 1 meal, I feel like almost like lightheaded kind of going into the gym. I definitely eat way more carbs before I train. And my first meal, like you saw, was only 80 grams of cream of rice. So like not a tremendous amount of carbs, like 64 carbohydrates. So like not a lot compared to my pre-workout meal. I also get 80 grams of cream of rice, but I also get 50 grams of carbs from dried dates. I also get honey. I also get almond butter. So I do have like a lot more calories going into my training session. And again, I could just start my day with that, but having 2 meals, I feel much better. 3, 4 meals, I only feel better as well. But also after a certain point in the day, like my energy just naturally goes down. I'm more of a morning person. When like 6, 7 p.m. rolls around, like I automatically just feel more sluggish and not necessarily related to food, but just more of a tired being. And I guess my circadian rhythm kind of is lined up in a way that, hey, I start winding down and only go to bed by like 10 or 11 p.m. or at least fall asleep on the couch at 10 or 11 p.m. So definitely like having a earlier session, but not as late. Like today is very unique. The only time we ever train late is when we wait for Mana to come home from work, and we'll lift at iron 2 days a week pretty late, normally like 8 or 9 p.m. But again, that's more of a scheduling thing more than anything else.
Yeah. And then I would assume you have intra-workout carbs as well that you're utilizing.
Not right now. I wish I did. For right now, my food is not super high for what it is. We haven't really had a need to increase food. So I've been kind of sitting around like 3,500 calories. All my carbs are just actual food right now. Pretty much my reverse diet has been the same, and it was never changed. From the first meal plan I got post-show, it's been just holding steady. I was increasing weight like 1 or 2 pounds a week every single week. Some weeks I lost weeks, but on an average, it came out to like 1.5 pounds a week. So like, all right, we can keep rolling at this. There's no reason to add more food just to add more food and have body fat kind of get higher. Especially we didn't really escalate drugs either post-show. We kind of held things where they're at. Because like if you're making pretty steady progress, there's no reason to kind of like push anything. And like we didn't want to have my body fat get too high too quick and then have to like end the rebound. So I was like, all right, cool. Like we're staying pretty lean doing here. The logbook's being beat on a consistent basis. The plan's working. There's no reason to fix what's not broken. But I would like intra-workout carbs, but we also don't have. I'm in a health phase right now, so we're not using like insulin right now or anything like that. Just a little bit of GH and my 1 milligram Aretta a week, and my baseline of testosterone. So hopefully, when we do push, as we do get ready for the amateur this year, that we do have some more fun stuff in play because I love programming. A little bit of Humalog with some GH pre-workout, and then give them like 50 grams intra-workout carbs. Really keeps energy really steady throughout the whole entire lift. Because there's that point halfway through your workout where you like hit this metaphorical wall, and you're like, fuck, like, especially after like a big day, like your leg day, like if you have a big movement like a hack squat or even like a leg press as your first or second movement, like you can be dead after that, and the rest two movements kind of suffer. But I feel like having like a baseline of like intra-workout carbs during allows you to kind of keep energy more stable because you're not having that blood sugar crash during your workout.
And then I saw that you were attributing staying lean this off season to the one supplement, the peptide, was it MOT?
Yeah, no, I think the combination of MOTS-c. I'm also using SLU as well, but I'm using SLU at a much higher dose than most people can find. SLU is normally like dosed at like 500 micrograms per serving. I'm thinking 20 milligram tablet. And we're seeing like in the research that the research around it, they were dosing it actually based off people's weight in milligram. So people who weighed much more were given a much higher milligram. People who weighed much less were given a much lower milligram. And those are the studies that we're using to promote the product, but we're not dosing it like the studies at all. So that's the one thing I'm not a big fan that we're seeing like in the peptide world with that specific product is that they know what the drug was dosed at, but no one's selling it at that dose.
Yeah. And then, so I don't really know what is the MOTS, what does it do?
So it helps with, in essence, your mitochondria use more energy throughout the whole entire day. Now, the one that I like about it is, number one, I feel slightly more energized throughout the whole day without using caffeine. Like, caffeine doesn't actually give you more energy. It blocks the feeling of feeling fatigued. But I just naturally do feel like I have more energy throughout the day. I used to, like, crush, like, you used to see, like, Ghost and Bang throughout the whole entire day. Now I have, like, 1 or 2 cups of coffee and then a pre-workout, and then I'm kind of good for the whole entire day. So that is one thing for me. It's allowed me to have a higher quality of energy throughout the day without having to actually abuse caffeine, which I'm going to have to abuse during prep at one time. So like in my off season when I can get away having much less caffeine, I'd much rather do that. Especially like I kind of look at it from this perspective, when I'm a heavier being, having my resting heart rate in a higher position for the whole entire day is not the best thing when we think about like cardiac enlargement and what can happen to someone who does take PEDs or like pushing growth hormone like myself. Like that is always a concern you have to think about. I know it's not like abusing Clen, but the same exact thing. If I have my resting heart rate sitting at like 100 the whole entire day, like that's a terrible place to be as an enhanced bodybuilder.
Yeah, I agree.
And like even like just being heavier, my heart rate is just sitting at a heavier position as it is, because it takes more effort to do everything. Like when I walk on the treadmill now at the 2.5 miles an hour at a 7 or 8 degree incline, my heart rate's 135. Yeah. Like when I'm at prep shape, like that's not a thing at all. You're gonna fall. You're gonna fall. You're gonna fall. Are you good? You're really bad at being a cat. You would not last a week outside. If this was a telephone pole, you would fall. Yeah, like even my Fitbit, I normally have like a 30 beat per minute difference from just being in my off season shape to being in prep shape. And like in prep, I do have things that do elevate my heart rate. I am taking Clem then, and my heart rate is still significantly lower just from me being a smaller being. So like at this period of time when I'm this much heavier, I don't try not to abuse caffeine too much. Even though these periods of time, like after big meals, where I do feel like more lethargic, that's the one thing about an off season sometimes is that you do have like these energy crashes midday when you have like, yeah, I ate like 85 carbs in a sitting with 150 grams of meat. Yeah, I kind of want to take a nap right now, but now I really don't have that wall the same way I hit that wall before.
Yeah. And then I know that you use your CPAP. So as you're getting heavier in the off season, do you feel like your sleep gets affected in any way, or the CPAP really negates that?
So like honestly, I'm terrible using my CPAP. I am fucking terrible. Every time I use it, I normally end up ripping it off in the middle of the night. It's really hard for me to get comfortable with it. I've tried the full face. I have the nose pillow now. The full face feels weird. You open your mouth at all in the middle of the night, you can feel like you made out with a fucking vacuum. So it's not like the best feeling in the world. And then with the CPAP up your nose, sometimes for me, I don't know why I do this. Like I almost feel like one nose kind of like collapse almost, but it's not. I have my magnetic strips I use for intake, which are helpful in general. They help me breathe throughout the day. But for some reason, like with the actual nose pillow, I feel like I'm like suffocating, but I know I'm not. But I definitely feel my sleep get impacted as I get heavier and heavier and heavier. My sleep apnea goes away at like 220 pounds. I feel like after that, then it really comes back. And I don't know if it's my actual weight or it's my neck. My neck is thicker. I have more fat around my neck when I'm heavier, but it's instantly around that period of time. Because like at the end of prep, like when I was sitting at like 210 pounds each day, like didn't really have any issues falling asleep. I could fall asleep anywhere. I didn't feel like I was gagging. Hey, man, was I still choking in my sleep when I was leaner? Not as much. So I still was, I guess, at some capacity, but not as much. Not to the point that I could feel it. Like now I know sometimes, especially if I have a little bit of a stuffy nose, it's infinitely worse because I already can't breathe. That like I'm like, fuck, I woke up like 8 times in the past hour. That fucking sucks.
That'll ruin your sleep.
Yeah, because I'm not being able to stay asleep for like the whole like 90-minute sleep cycle. Like I am waking up normally on the hour or every like 30 minutes or so, or even sometimes just back to back because like yeah, it looks like I'm sucking ghost stick because I'm choking, reaching for the sky because I can't breathe. And
So what are the different types of things that you do for your clients? Like, do you give them like tips with their lifting, or is it just like their plans? Like, what kind of things do they chat with you about, and what kind of feedback do you give them?
yeah, absolutely. So like what I'm doing right now is I'm looking over my client Tony. He sent me some training footage from the other day. I asked my clients to all send me videos of the compound sets just because like not everyone does things the exact way I kind of envision them doing it. I'm not saying they're doing it a wrong way, but sometimes a slightly better way to do something to hit the targeted muscle group that we're trying to really target here. And I also write down tempos as well. So it's my way of really spot checking to see if anyone's actually following the tempo. As a good way to also assess how much effort someone's giving on an actual set. So, like for example, I program top sets and working sets. And for top sets, I want you to leave no reps in the tank. I want you to really empty the clip here. And I can watch back some training footage from people and be like, hey man, you really had 2 more reps left in the tank here. We need to make sure next week that we really push here because at the end of the day, your intensity in the gym and how you progress in the gym is going to lead to you having a better physique, irregardless of the meal plan. If you are getting stronger in the gym, you are normally going to end up building more muscle. And it's my way of kind of holding people accountable when it comes to that. Right, Cannoli? Now. And then when it comes to actual check-ins for clients, I don't send them like a voice note normally or a message. I normally like to use Loom videos for all my clients. I feel like just writing a text message is way less personable. And at the end of the day, like I don't get to see my clients in person every single week or anything. And so this is pretty much the only interaction they get besides hearing feedback about the workout. So I like to use Loom for multiple reasons. One, message sent isn't message delivered. I could say something and you could deem what I'm saying as possibly sarcastic because you can't see my mannerisms or can't see my how I'm expressing it or the tone of my voice. Well, if you actually can see me on video kind of talking about your check-in, you can really see like exactly how I'm trying to convey my message to you. Also, it allows me to show my screen and share my screen with them so they can see any changes I'm making to the plan so they don't have to kind of dig for them. Because I remember I've had coaches in the past before that have sent me plans and like digging through the whole plan, like what did they actually fucking change? And then I have to ask them, what did they change? And they would normally like pissed off, like, oh, you weren't following the plan close enough if you didn't realize what you changed. So this makes it way easier for everyone to kind of see exactly what the changes are. So there's no confusion there. And again, also like it's the only time I really get to interact with my clients like this. So I think it's great from a building a rapport standpoint with each individual client. Hey, Nathan, I hope you were doing great today, my man. I hope you were able to have a happy holiday over there. I'm not sure if you observed or not, but either way, I hope you got to enjoy the holiday. So, after you watch this, Nathan, hit me back, let me know your thoughts, and I'll go ahead and pull the trigger on that if needed. Thank you, my brother.
Is check-in data more important than scale weight?
So, like, honestly, the scale is just a tool that we use to monitor progress. It's not the end all be all. It is, again, a tool. So, like, for example, in a contest prep phase, especially for someone who's not blasting PEDs, I do expect the scale to move down to some capacity because you're not putting on muscle at an identical rate in which you should be losing fat. So, knowing what you did over the course of the week is much more important to me. Because, for example, let's say the scale moved down a good bunch, but you missed 2 or 3 meals every single day, so you could specifically just weigh much less because you missed meals. And also gastrointestinal weight is a big thing too. You think about if you have like 2 or 3 meals, and let's say each meal total weight of just the meal is 400 grams, and you miss 2 of those a day, you missed about 2 pounds of total food consumed over the day, which could relay into less gastrointestinal weight, which would be giving me bad data thinking you actually lost 2 pounds. But in reality, you just didn't really eat yesterday, so there's less waste to move through you. So knowing what actually happened over the course of the week allows me to look at the data, such as the weight, with a better educated set of data.
So, as a prep coach, what do you feel like a good prep coach should be monitoring? Like, what are the main indicators throughout a prep?
So yeah, throughout a prep, I think one thing that people don't ask, which is something that always should be asked, is how is their training going? Because at the end of the day, especially if you're talking about a natural athlete, if their strength is plummeting throughout prep, the odds of them maintaining the amount of muscle they had at the beginning of prep is pretty slim. Whatever you did to put the muscle on, you kind of still have to do to be able to maintain that muscle. So if you had someone's strength get cut in half over the course of the prep, well, odds are that person is probably going to look not as muscular and as full as you need them to when it does come to actually being on stage. So I think training performance is a big thing that most coaches should look at when it comes to competitive bodybuilding that kind of falls to the wayside sometimes.
How do you identify that a client maybe isn't the right person to be competing?
Uh, so sometimes it comes down to how well someone follows or doesn't follow a plan. When someone is really dedicated to something, odds are they normally follow at the highest capacity as possible and near perfect in a lot of situations. I've had clients who, during power outages, went and cooked the whole entire meals outside on the grill because that was how dedicated they were to being perfect. Like, I mean, taking the frying pan, bringing it outside, and cooking eggs. Trey did that actually when he won Summer Shred because we had the hurricane like the week before Summer Shred 2 years ago, and there was no power in all of Houston. So it kind of really showed you how dedicated people were to getting the meals in. So you had to cook you had to cook outside if you didn't have power. It's what you kind of had to do. Well, if you're someone who's willing to go the extra mile and do things like that to ensure they can follow a plan, well, you're probably someone who's kind of cut out for competing. But if you're someone that's going to take every single inconvenience as a reason not to do something, well, you're truly never going to be competitive. And this is a competitive sport at the end of the day. And I'm sure whoever is competing has some vested interest in how they actually place. No one wants to prep for 20 weeks and miss dinners and miss holidays to step on stage and get last place. So I kind of sometimes ask people why do they want to do this if they're the person who continuously drop the ball, because like your why has to be a good enough reason for you to get up and do the shit you don't want to do when you don't feel like it.
But have you ever had those times where you're like deep in prep? It's late at night. You cannot go to sleep, and you're like, I need to eat something. What is your thing, like that 0 calorie thing that you eat or you drink? Because I know a lot of people, they do like the flavored water, like the Mio. What's your thing? Like it's super late at night. You're deep in prep, and you're craving something. What are you eating?
So pickles used to be my thing. I think everyone at one point in time like loved pickles. I am so pickled out now at this point in my life. But like pickles used to be my go-to thing. So like I would like, okay, I can't fucking sleep. Let me eat like 1 or 2 pickles. And that would always be it. It'd be enough. And I would sometimes even chop them up on like a chopping board and throw in a bowl with mustard and like pretend it was like a hamburger bowl. But it's when you're like food super low, like you're like poverty meals almost at that point. And I feel like everything tastes good at that point in prep. Like it could be like the worst thing. Like I love cucumbers and stevia together in prep, but like now eating that, I feel like what the fuck is this? How did I enjoy this?
Yeah, I used to cut up cucumbers, like big, full cucumbers, slice them up real thin into chips, and then I would season it with buffalo ranch, and that would be it. And it was the most delicious thing ever. I feel like when you're in prep, you convince yourself that these crazy combinations of food are delicious, and then you'll eat them afterwards, and
Yeah.
then you revisit it once you've had normal food, and you're like, what the hell is that?
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I loved egg whites and cod during prep. And I threw it ready, the shredded like lettuce packets with that. I convinced myself that was a tasty meal. And I ate that for like 3 days in prep just because I almost wanted to. It was chicken, but I made it cod instead. I was like, Nick, can I have cod? He's like, if you want to make it fish, by all means. I was like, all right, I want to do some fish. I was buying fresh fish every day to do it with. But I was like, yeah, like egg whites and cod. Like this is like a hidden hack no one knows about. And then I was like, I bought cod like 1 week in my off season. I even asked Nick to put in my plan. I was like, this is fucking gross. This is why did I like this so much? But like, I just convinced myself to like it. Shoot.
What does trust the process actually mean in real life?
Mm. It's such a loaded question because so many people hate that phrase. But it's something that really does like hold true. Because many people have an idea of like how they want to get somewhere, but on their mind it kind of looks much different than the actual route that should be taken to get there. Like if someone's like, oh, I want to get like this big or jump to this weight class, it's like, all right, cool. Like that's not going to be like a 3 4 year bulk straight. There's gonna be periods of time where we're gonna eat less and we're gonna clean your body comp up and put you in a position where you're more sensitive compared to your body fat keeping the creep up repeatedly just to keep yourself in check. And again, people will think sometimes, okay, just push more food as the answer, and on paper it may actually seem that way, but your much trusted and truest route may be a little bit different than that. And some people will try to find every reason outside of listening to their coach to justify their mindset. They look for people on Instagram to reinforce the narrative they have until they almost create their own echo chamber to be like, okay, this is not the plan for me. But in reality, if you just listen to your coach, and you trusted the process and followed it, odds are it probably would have got you where you wanted to go if that coach knew exactly what he should be doing. So that's what we normally mean by that. And what that shows by action is you obviously taking your time and doing a check-in on time, you submitting all the data and the data being reflective of what we told you to do, right? Like if you keep missing cardio, that means that, hey, you either not, number one, you're terrible time management, or you're not really trusting the process of truly committing to it. Or same thing if you're not really following nutrition, doesn't mean you really trust the process. Like you showing up and executing every single day shows your coach that you actually trust the process.
Yeah, and I feel like as a lot of people, they go through their first prep, or just when they get deep into prep, a lot of their anxiety comes out, and they really get into their head a lot.
Yeah.
But I feel like practicing consistency and always checking those boxes and making sure you're prepared eases a lot of that anxiety, and then having a coach as a second pair of eyes rather than just looking at yourself. I feel like a lot of competitors can self sabotage themselves.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I feel like their anxiety gets to them.
Yeah, no, your emotional state the last few days, especially, truly matter. But yeah, so many times during prep, people have so many doubts, especially because like they compare to everyone they see online, and they don't know who like they have unrealistic expectations in a lot of situations to what they might look like, especially based on their starting point. Like they'll be comparing themselves to very heavily muscled people, relatively in the same body height or weight class, but that person's overall has way more muscle than them. So when they get lean, the conditioning that the other person has, they're not going to possess 'cause they don't have that level of muscularity to truly show that. Like you see people who suck down to like 130 pounds, but don't really even have abs still because they never developed a muscular midsection. It was something that was neglected and never really was trained. So even when they get skinny, they still don't really even have abs. It's not really even a body fat thing at that standpoint. It's just a lack of muscle.
How do you feel that you help clients stay consistent when life gets chaotic, like work, family, stress? Because I'm sure that comes up a lot.
So like I'm not someone who like makes everyone follow the same type of plan at all. I have a lot of different type of meal plan layouts and schedules based on the person's actual life, right? I have a lot of people who work as first responders, so their schedule is very rotating. I have people who have really busy careers and their schedule is not really the same each week, like a lot of my nurses. So like I don't make people follow things exactly to a T when we're not in a prep scenario. I give people options that they can kind of fall back on a lot of times. And I'll give an example, like a lot of my police officers. So sometimes where they have a busy night with full of lots of time where they can't actually eat. If you're actually responding to calls repeatedly, you don't really have the opportunity to actually sit down and eat a meal. And they have the option of replacing a protein with a protein powder and the carbs with rice cakes and keeping a jar of peanut butter in the back of the trunk. So they keep pretty much a shaker cup, a thing of whey, and rice cakes in the trunk at all times. So if they ever don't have the ability to actually eat a meal, they have the ability to had that in place. So giving people the options and meeting them halfway in these situations where we can kind of cater the plan more to them, where it's not going to actually sacrifice our progress. Because like the best plan for anyone is the plan that someone's going to actually follow, and they actually kind of want to follow some capacity as well. So like that's where like being like a truly caring coach and understanding your client's schedule and work life situation can allow you to build a plan that will lead to better success.
What's one thing new clients are surprised by once they start working with you?
Oh shit. This is what I feel like I get all the time. Uh, People feel like they weren't doing the right things in the gym prior. And I feel like a lot of people who are new to the gym fall into doing a crazy amount of volume when it comes to training. Cause like I feel like a lot of us when we first start training feel like more is more when it comes to it. And like they kind of go into the gym without really a plan. Like they know Monday's chest day. So they go to the gym and they're like, okay, cool, I'm gonna do bench. And then everything after that is what machine is open first compared to, hey, this is the next thing I have to actually hit. And now they're comparing weights from week to week, which leads to them forcing progression. While before they would try to memorize what they actually did last week. And in many situations, they would guess some of it, but they didn't know exactly how many reps they got. But now they say, okay, cool. I did 8 last week. I have to increase the weight this week because my rep range is 5 to 8 for this movement. So let me up 5 pounds this week compared to maybe they would have ran the same weight back again this week and maybe beat a rep or maybe just stop at 8 again. So it's one of those things that the training is more so focused on driving progress, while before there was no actual plan to drive progress. It was just kind of let me show up and train hard, and that was it. So I think that's one of the big things people comment on is how much different the training now is and how the structure leads to them performing harder in the sessions but feel like they did less.
What do you think the biggest mindset shift for your clients is in order for them to make and see real progress?
I think that goes back to the gamifying of training performance. I feel like training performance is not something hyper focused on by a lot of people who are in the aesthetic based sport division, right? Like people who are bikini competitors, like men's physique competitors. Unless you're like a power lifter, like a lot of bodybuilders don't hyper focus or did it previously, hyper focus on the actual progression of weights. Uh, I feel like a lot of people with some movements hyper focus on just how something feels And like when it comes to larger movements, like you're not gonna feel the muscle the same way as you're gonna feel an isolation movement. Like if you're really good at incline pressing, the odds are you're not gonna feel your chest the same way you feel on a pec fly, where that is the number one and pretty the strongest mover there. So when people kind of just focus on, hey, let me drive progress, let me focus what form looks like. And this is why also watching footage is extremely important. You can now look back at your tape and decide, hey, I made this improvement here, I didn't make this improvement here. This looked great, this didn't look great, compared to hyper focusing on exactly how it feels. Because at the end of the day, if you felt how 405 felt or 315 felt to the fullest capacity, you would not be able to move the same amount of reps. They call it perceived effort, right? And the higher perceived effort is, the less you're normally going to be able to get out of it. And if you're able to feel that from a mind and muscle standpoint, as you would a fly or something, you're never going to be able to lift at the highest capacity. And the mechanical tension is what's going to drive more hypertrophy more than anything else.
What's one client in transformation that sticks with you and why?
I think you've seen videos of this guy, Patrick Cross. He was one of my diabetic clients. And he worked with me for my first coaching company called the Metabolic Roadmap. And he was just a lifestyle guy. He worked from home. He had a corporate office job. And he was diabetic. He was in a marriage he wasn't really happy with. He was like 214 pounds, like 5'9", and he just sat at his desk all day. And he hired me right when COVID happened. And so we had to do nothing but home workouts. And we ended up dropping like 30, 40 pounds out of the rip. And then the gym started opening back up. And this man didn't even want to go to a gym, not because he was actually scared of COVID at all, because he didn't want people to see him work out. And I was like, bro, I promise you, no one gives a fuck about you. And I don't mean that in a positive or negative way. I mean, this is a factual statement. No one cares about you going in the gym. Unless you're the biggest guy there or the girl wearing the least amount of clothes, like no one really cares about you there. No one looking at you. And he was like, okay, okay, okay. And he finally caved and he did it. And then he got so obsessed with being able to get like more muscular after we lost all the fat, was he wanted to do a bodybuilding show. And we ended up doing the Summer Shed Transformation Division 2 years ago with him. And it was really beautiful to see, because like he was someone who was so scared to even join a gym. And now he's going to step on stage in front of hundreds of people in a bathing suit, which was like really cool. And he ended up like evolving as a person as well, became more confident. He ended up being divorced. Now he's with someone who makes him happy. Like it was a whole entire life transformation that all started from, hey, Mark, I want to improve my blood sugar. And then it became more about just the person he is. And now to this day, I don't work with him any longer. He's pursuing bodybuilding still, which is like really cool to see. Because again, someone who is terrified of going to a gym, who wanted to do band workouts from the garage for eternity, is now continuously trying to get bigger and stronger. And he's living the life that he's meant to live. So I think his transformation, I always like look back on. I'm like, fuck yeah, because like that was way beyond a physical change. That was a manifestation of becoming a whole new person.
What do you wish more people understood about the mental side of bodybuilding?
I think that the whole entire sport is the mental part of this. Like, yeah, you have to physically show up, but like your mind can lead you anywhere. And as long as you like are very consistent with a thought process that you have to do it and you force yourself to show up, you can do anything. It does get physically hard. Things are going to physically hurt. You're going to be physically tired at times, or physically hungry at times, or physically full at times. Like you're going to have to do things you don't want to do all the time. And again, you can physically drag yourself through anything if you can get your mind to show up. So I think the biggest thing about the sport is those who can just be stoic, right? Like not allowing your feelings to dictate your actions, do the best in the sport. You can't allow your emotions to drive you at all here. Like you could use them as a motivator when you're in the gym, like have your dark place or whatever you need to, or go fight your demons, right? Per se. But like you can allow your demons to prevent you from eating your meals or anything else. So just being stoic all the time will lead to you to being a better bodybuilder. You'll never see the people who are hyper emotional and only great at the sport for that one reason. Is that again, you have to kind of stay grounded. And then the people who are also hermits don't want to do better in the sport as well for the same exact reason. They just want the same exact thing every single day, as plain Jane as possible. And it's the mundaneness of bodybuilding is what makes people great at bodybuilding. The lack of change. So that can get boring for a lot of people. So being able to be okay with that and accept that there's not going to be an exciting life pursuing bodybuilding. You find a lot of reward in a lot of things, and it's from a mindset perspective, allows you to build a type of discipline that most people could only dream of, because you're not allowing your emotions to dictate your actions. You're showing up irregardless of how you feel every day. So if you can do that, you'll be good at bodybuilding. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. If you haven't checked out the podcast either, me and Jack shoot 2 YouTube lives a week, one on Monday at 8 p.m. EST and one on Wednesday at 8 p.m. EST. So make sure you check those out as well. Thank you guys for tuning in.